Then we'll start. Now, Shazan, we have learned in the ninth, right? In the ninth class about tissues, right?
Ma'am.
Yeah, in that we have learned about xylem and phloem, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What does xylem do?
Xylem is a complex permanent tissue, ma'am.
Yeah, its main function,
It channels for
transportation. What does it transport?
that's not done.
Water, right?
Oh, fine.
And phloem, Shazam, phloem,
Yes, ma'am. For the main person of column.
transport of food, right? Or you can say
Ma'am, it
trans.
nutrition also.
Yes, that is same thing. Okay, and other substance, water and minerals, and here other substances. Okay, this is also called translocation, right? So, how does this happen? This is our ray, right? Here, this is soil, right? So, this is our root. Have you seen roots? I think your voice is cutting. Okay.
Ma'am, the person is doing alright like that.
Okay. Okay. So here, see, the roots, right? They are near soil. Okay. So what does the roots do? They in the soil there are many things like water, so minerals, right? Minerals like nitrogen, phosphorus, right, etc. So what will happen here is the root cells, right? The root cells, okay, the root cells will take ions, okay. This root cells will take ions. In the soil, there are many ions present, right? Mineral ions. So they take up the ions. The root cells, they take up the ions. What will happen here then? Hmm?
Can you zoom it out a little bit? I want to write also. I'm writing. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here it will create difference in concentration. Okay, so there will be creation of, okay, so there will be difference in concentration between the soil and the cells or root cells. So what will happen to eliminate that differences? What will happen is the water will move inside the roots of the root cells. Okay, so this will create upward movement. From the roots, it will move to the stem, okay? Then to the leaves, there will be upward movement.
Okay, ma'am.
One more thing is xylem tissues, right? Vessels, we have vessels and tracheids, right? Of roots, stem, and leaves. They are connected, interconnected. Okay, so vessels and tracheas of roots, stems, and leaves are interconnected. So the water will move, will go through the vessels and tracheas of roots, then it will go to the vessels and tracheas of the stem, then it will go to the leaves, like that. Understood?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right.
This will be continuous system.
Ma'am, after stem, what it is written?
Leaves.
Okay.
Okay, this will create a continuous system of water conducting channel. Do plants require many energy?
No, ma'am. They don't need to move here and there. So they just need the small amount of energy.
Yes, and also they have many dead cells, right, in the tissues. Why do they have dead cells? We have learned in the tissue chapter there is sclerenchymes, right? They are dead cells. So plants have many dead cells. So no energy is required, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Xylem parenchyma is living, and my one more which is dead, ma'am. That is phloem fiber.
yes, so you remember? That's great. Okay, now what I was telling. So slow transport is okay for them. Like they can live with this slow transport, but we don't, right? And for little plants, right? Small plants, the diffusion will be easier, right? And for the tall trees, right, there must be some mechanism, right, to reach to conduct to transport water from root to the uh, leaves, right, to aerial parts, right. So first thing is this tissue, right. By this, so what did I tell you? There will be steady movement, right, taking up of iron. So here there will be steady movement,
There is difference in.
concentration.
Okay.
Steady movement of water. This will be upward movement. There will be only upward movement. Okay. Also, there must be another method, right? What could be the other method? The other method is transpiration. See, if plants are having a sufficient water, what will happen in the leaves? There is loss of water. That is called transpiration, right? Hmm? You have learned about that, right? Transpiration.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the stomata, right, there will be loss of water, transpiration. So what will happen? There will be loss of water, and in the stomata of the leaves, right? So because there is no water, this will create a suction force. The water will be pulled, right, from the xylem. So there will be endless supply. There will be suctional pulling force. Okay. So the water will be transported to all the parts. Okay, understood? This creates force. Okay, understood? So this thing, right? This thing will happen during daytime, mostly daytime, because in the daytime there will be transpiration, right. How does this happen, this transpiration? Because of the evaporation, right. When sunlight falls, there will be evaporation of water, right. Understood, Shazam?
Yes,
And
ma'am. Can
in,
you write that evaporation?
what did I tell? Evaporation, right. Okay. Now, this thing, this is our root pressure. This mainly happens night. Transport in day mainly due to the transpiration pull, and the night root pressure. Okay, understood. So
Yes,
this
ma'am.
all are about the
Evaporation of water
transportation,
results in. After that, what's written?
transpiration.
Oh, transpiration.
Okay. Next we have, this was all about the transport of water, right? Transport of water and minerals. Next we have transport of food and other substances. How does this happen?
Yes, ma'am.
How does this happen?
What it happened?
The transport of food in plants.
Oh, ma'am, ma'am, that recommends xylem tissues.
Xylem for the
Water and
water.
phloem tissues. Yeah, phloem tissues help in transport of food.
Yeah, you can say flow of phloem, food, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Food and other substances. Why it's not like the amino acids. Where is food made? Where is the food made?
Ma'am, in leaves.
Yes, leaves, correct. So from the leaves, it must be transported to every part of the body, right? So this phloem will transport by upward movement also and downward movement also, right? You can understand this, right?
Yes.
Hmm? Down to the roots, then up to the other stems and leaves, like that. Understood? Direction will be both, okay, in this case. Also, the phloem will require energy for the transport, like ATP. This is the difference between phloem and the xylem, okay, transport.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the phloem, there will be, I told you, In the ninth, there was sieve tubes, right? This conduction of the food and other material, other substances happens in the sieve tubes and with the help of companion cells. Okay. So how does this happen? First thing is you can take for example sucrose. It will be transferred, right, to phloem tissue by utilizing ATP. So what will happen is the osmotic pressure will increase. So the water will move into the tissue. Okay. So what will happen wherever there is less pressure, the tissues with the less pressure, the material will move there. Okay. The tissue which are having less pressure, the materials will move there. Okay. Shazam, not there. Somi ma'am, Sophia will continue. So this will allow the plants. So this will allow the plants to move materials according to the plant's need. Okay, this phloem tissues. So for example, in spring, what will happen is sugar in the stems and roots will be transported to the bud, which require them. Okay, why do they require? Because they need energy for their growth. Okay, so we have completed this transportation in plants. So you will have test in this transportation. Next, we'll go for the respiration. Respiration. So in the nutrition, what will happen? Food, we are taking in the food and breaking it down, right? And the food materials, whatever we require, it needs to be to be used, right? To be used. So the materials, food materials to be used.
Ma'am, my internet was gone. That's why I left.
Ah, it's okay. So we are talking about the respiration, okay? Now, before that, I'll complete this. I have completed the okay. This is the transportation of food, right? So what I was telling, so from sucrose, for example, sucrose, what will happen is sucrose will be transferred to phloem tissue, okay? And how it will happen? By the use of ATP, okay? Because it is moving against the gradient. So it requires ATP. And because of that, in the tissue, the osmotic pressure will increase. And because of that, water will move inside the tissues. And after that, the tissue with less pressure, the materials will move inside the tissue with less pressure. Okay. So this will allow phloem to move materials according to plant's needs. Oh, Shazan, you're not there. Okay, this I have already got. So we'll go for this respiration. So the food material, suppose in respiration we have glucose. So it will be broken down into pyruvate.
Can you start explaining again? My internet was gone again.
It's pyruvate K1. Okay. So till here you got right. For example, you can take sucrose. It will be transferred into phloem tissues. How it will be transferred? With the help of ATP. It is moving against the gradient, right? So it requires ATP. And what will happen? There is osmotic pressure will increase, and the water will move inside that tissue. Okay, and after that, materials will move into tissues with less pressure. Yeah, should I continue? I'll continue with the respiration. Here in respiration, glucose will be broken down into pyruvate. This will happen in the cytoplasm. Okay. After that, this pyruvate will also be broken down. This is happening because the materials must be according to our need, right? So that's why here we have various. One thing is in absence of oxygen. Pen is not working. Shazan, you came back.
Yes, ma'am.
Just small thing is left, okay? So this will allow phloem to move materials according to its the plant's needs, okay? According to the plants. And for example, in spring, right? The foods usually are stored in the stem or roots, right? What will happen here? The sugars stored in these parts will be transported into bud, because buds, they are young and they require energy for their growth. Okay, so this is all about the transport of food in plants. So we have completed this topic. So you will be having test in the next class. Now we'll go for
Okay,
the
ma'am.
respiration. Okay, why it is not? Shazan, you're there. So what is happening here is glucose is broken down into the pyruvate in cytoplasm. So in yeast, in the absence of oxygen, further this pyruvate will be broken down into ethanol, carbon dioxide, and energy. Here there will be formation of energy here also. Okay, and in our muscles, when we do vigorous exercises, what will happen? There will be lack of oxygen, right? So at that time, this pyruvate will be broken down into lactic acid and energy. This will happen in our muscles. The next one is presence of oxygen. This is the usual happening inside our cell. Presence of oxygen. This pyruvate will be broken down into carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Okay, so this is happening in the mitochondria. This is happening in yeast, right? And also in the absence of oxygen. So it is called anaerobic respiration. And here, this is happening in presence of oxygen. So it is called aerobic respiration. Okay, then next we'll learn about the lung. Yes, Sarja, you're there.
Ma'am, I just came right.
Okay. Hmm. Did you understand the transport in
Ma'am, I just
plants?
joined. Now, ma'am, what I don't know what is happening today. My Wi-Fi is turning off by itself, and then it's not turning off for some time. Then. I don't know.
Okay. In the next class, I'll start with respiration.
Ma'am, I'll check the PDF and I'll write all the notes down.
Okay. So next class there will be test. Okay, transportation, the whole thing, humans and the plants, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Next. Okay. Then any doubts in transport in plants?
No, ma'am, just me.
Thank you. Then bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.